Paul Verhoeven from Power Up Australia. Sam, how are you?
I'm doing great, Paul. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Thank you so much for chatting with me today.
Thank you.
Now, you pretty much established the look and the feel of superhero films, Marvel superhero films, and you've influenced so many filmmakers. But as a director, I'd like to ask you, whose work influenced you and whose work helped kind of shape you and create your distinct aesthetic?
Wow. Well, I love the films of Federico Fellini, the great Italian filmmaker.
Yeah.
I loved Hitchcock's work. That was so brilliant and beautiful to watch. I'm a big von Stroheim fan from the silent era. I love some of the German expressionism of like Cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
Yeah.
I love James Whale, the British director who came to Hollywood to make Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein. I love the films of Peter Weir, speaking of Australia.
Yeah.
I think all of those filmmakers have had an impact on me. And the great John Huston. I love Treasure of the Sierra Madre, Maltese Falcon. Those are great classics that I really admire the deft storytelling hand of Huston in telling those tales.
It's so interesting hearing some of these influences and trying to place them in, because you've got a very kinetic sort of aesthetic. I mean, the second this film started, I knew it was a Sam Raimi film. I was just being flung around. But what is it like stepping back into the superhero genre? Is it like putting on a comfy old pair of jeans, or did you have to sort of reacclimatize yourself gradually?
It was super comfortable. I think, though, because I had reached a point in my career about 10 years ago where I was worried about getting stale and repeating myself. And so I stopped directing for about a decade, and I was producing young filmmakers' films. And I wanted to learn again. And I would watch them direct actors and think, that's not what I would have said, but gosh, he got a great performance out of him. Or I'd watch a young filmmaker make a cut and think, that's not where I would cut. And yet it worked even better than what I would have done. So I kind of opened myself up for input again for the last 10 years. Meanwhile, I was tending my garden and learning from the garden. All the secrets of the universe, they say, can be found in a garden. And I felt finally that I was ready when I got a call saying, hey, they're looking for a director for Doctor Strange 2, Multiverse of Madness. Something in me said, you're ready. You've rested. You've refreshed yourself. You've got a hunger to do this, so do it.
That is so interesting. Were you sitting back kind of watching the MCU going, nah, I wouldn't have done it that way? Or were you just avoiding it entirely because you sort of overdosed on the genre?
I was avoiding it, not entirely, but as much as I could. I just wanted to take in other things in other ways, experiences, life, and try and approach filmmaking in a new way.
So that sounds very healthy. That sounds like a very centered approach to work, letting it come to you.
In retrospect, it sounds healthy, but at the time it was very confusing. And I felt lost often and without a guide. I just didn't know why I couldn't go back to filmmaking. I didn't know what it was that I was looking for, what it was that I had to learn. I didn't know any of those things, but it sounds good here and now. But it was a much more murky, confused journey that I went on.
Yeah, well, welcome back. It's such a triumph, and we're so happy to have you back because
Thank you.
It's great. It's trademark Raimi.
Thank you so much for welcoming me like that. I appreciate it.
And thank you for chatting with me today, Sam. I'm sorry, but that's all. I'm getting the kind of wrap up sign. But have a great day and well done on the film. It was an absolute pleasure.
Thanks, pal. Really nice to meet you.